Yeah. even your show, I can see it right now.
I'll probably be the loudest though. So we're using the Bluetooth mic this week. This is podcast Shaker Cup number 4. Shaker Cup's the name of our podcast.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Shaker Cup, anything goes in it.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yes. All right, Sandy likes it.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know this code.
Yeah, so we've named my our podcast, mine and Steven's. And so welcome week 4. Alessandra Pichelli is here this week. Everybody knows who Alessandra is, so I don't need an introduction. But we do get some people that view it beyond Diablo. I send it out to 5,000 people, and we're getting pretty good viewership. We try to stay with relevant topics, what's happening at Diablo during the week. By the way, just before we talk to Sandra, I know everybody wants to see Sandra, but just before everyone does, we're returning equipment this week, May 18th and 19th. And
Is that
planning
Monday
on
and Tuesday?
Yeah, that's Monday and Tuesday. We need the equipment back. We have Murph on the schedule. So Murph is happening on Monday. And before that, it's possible that we could have classes. We could have classes as well at Diablo. So
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
And if you do come to, I mean, we're going to post a whole separate video on this, but Murph, if you're not prepared for it physically, don't go crazy. Don't try to do Murph RX. Like me personally, I haven't been practicing or getting ready for Murph, so I'm not going to do it with a weight vest this year because I don't want to be out for a week. So
the at-home workouts have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure they've necessarily prepared you entirely
I mean,
for
if
Murph.
you haven't been training with a weight vest, like don't go on 2-mile run with a weight vest.
You can certainly do Murph without it,
Yeah.
and your hands are going to be sore probably from the pull-ups.
Yeah, but you're not going to be wrecked.
That's right.
Like you're not going to get rhabdo, and you're not going to just completely wreck.
And we'll
your
have
body.
scaled versions as well.
Yeah.
So.
It'll be
And
fun.
then we'll hopefully in June, our plan is in June to be at full class operation with all the signs and directions and safe distancing.
Yeah.
So
Finally.
should be cool.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
looking
excited.
forward to it. And all the projects hopefully here will be done. One of them being our open gym logo that we got going here
good.
with Sandra. Yeah. Cool. So on to Sandra, because this is I've been looking forward to this. Talking to Sandra since the announcement. I avoided her the first day of the announcement. She didn't look like she wanted to talk. she's intensely involved in our workout. But the CrossFit, for those of you that don't know, the CrossFit Games announced that it will not be in Madison, Wisconsin. It's going to be Aromas, which is the ranch, a small parcel down in Aromas, California, which is somewhere between like Gilroy and Salinas. It's in the valley there. It's on the way to Monterey.
You
It's
drive
in the
right
middle of
past it
north.
on the highway, and you will not even know that
see
it's
it.
there.
But it's where the CrossFit Games got started. They had them there from 2007 until 2009. So 7, 8, and 9 were there, and it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
And so it's neat that they're bringing it back. But the downside of it is they announced it's a smaller field of athletes. So instead of who they're not taking is they're not taking the national champions, which includes Alessandra, who's the national champion of Italy, and they're not taking everyone below 20, right? So they're only taking the top 20 athletes, and they're taking the sanctional winners for the sanctionals that did happen.
And there was only 10, right?
I don't even know if there was 10. I think there was about 6.
Out of
Less.
almost 30.
Yeah. And we know it was Dubai, the championship, Wadapalooza. There was the Filthy 150, Pandaland, and there's about 3 or 4 others.
Yeah. So not even close to the.
No,
The field.
the field's going to be small. It looks like it's probably going to be about 25, 26 athletes, men and women athletes. No teams, no masters. That was unfortunate for Shannon Aiken here at Diablo, who qualified for his 3rd CrossFit Games. And what's sad about that, what's kind of a bummer about that, is Shannon is an athlete that does better in competition than he does in the gym. Mm-hmm. Like when you get him in competition head to head with people, that he's a machine and super competitive, and he's podiumed twice at the games. So he likely would have done very well, and that's unfortunate.
And he didn't really get to showcase that with the online qualifier because it wasn't in person.
That's right.
So
So bummer for Shannon, but also for Sandra, and this would have been her 8th games as an individual, which is a feat in and of itself. So congratulations for that. Her 9th games, because she went once and was on the podium with the Diablo team in 2012, 2013.
Yeah, 12. Yeah.
2012 was when she podiumed with the team. So it's
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
What a legend.
And so, so the first thing is, so the games announcement. It's the obvious question is, how was that news received? How did you receive that news? Was it disappointing? Obviously, it's disappointing, but tell me the thoughts that went through your head.
I think I was sitting on my couch and I had checked an email or no, I was on Instagram and I saw Dave Cashwell's post that happened, and I kind of just sat there for a while and read it, and then told Akeem, and we both just sat there for probably like an hour just in complete shock, because this whole year, or the last 8 years, 9 years, I've been training so hard for this, and I've sacrificed so much, and this year for me was strategic, and I had just done Dubai, and I didn't plan on any other sanctionals, knowing that I had qualified, and then so I could just focus all my energy on the games. And even before the Open, I missed my grandfather's funeral so that I could focus on the Open. So like I felt like this year I was putting in more than I ever have, and just all the 8 years leading up to it. So just to read that and know that, like just out of nowhere that was taken away from me, it was, obviously at first I was angry, but then when I thought about, what's going on in the world, like I just felt like I have to look at the bigger picture, and, health and safety and all that's way more important. And so I totally understand that, but I think just knowing that, the games is still happening, but the rules have kind of changed is a little bit disheartening, because in some sense, like for me, I work so hard, and I believe that I deserve to be there, and every year at the games I've always shown my performance, and I always like you said, for Shannon, I'm a better in-person performer too, and the Open's never been per se my strength. So, but then I guess in the end you have to go off of something, and I think like I said, I'm looking at the bigger picture, and I'm just really trying to be happy for those people who are going to the games. And but I think it's just going to take me some time to reorganize my thoughts and try to set new goals. But I'm more importantly happy that my family is healthy and safe, and that all my friends and family are also healthy. And so I just really got to look at that. And I'm not the type of person that wants to ever feel bad for myself or anything like that. I'm always looking, from my perspective, everyone's going through hardships and that kind of thing, losing business, and maybe other people have family that are affected by this. So I always try to look and see, like, people always have it worse than me, so like I don't ever want to feel bad for myself in that sense, and I just want to focus on like what I can do now. And when I hear about other athletes too, they're going through the same thing, and so I'm like, I just can't.
Yeah, I want to talk about some of those other athletes too. For you personally, I've been able to see you as an athlete over the last 9-10 years, and I know you and I know your coach very well. And your coach's support crew that he has all focus on making you better each year. And I feel like every year this is going to be a great year for Sandra. This is going to be a great year for Sandra, because
we get to see you every day.
You take apart your weaknesses and you focus on them intensely so that you get better, and you've gotten better. And this Open was a very good Open for you. It started out as an awesome Open. Where you were in the top 20 for quite a while. And then you had some misfortune though on the last workout. What happened? Because the last workout was the muscle ups, wall ball rowing and muscle ups, but you could complete it any way you wanted. And we all thought, and you thought too, this is a good workout for you, right? Because one, your gymnastics is legit, and then wall balls and rowing, those are your jam.
Yeah, so after that workout was announced, I know we had Friday Night Lights, and then it was after I had gone home after that, and I don't know if it was food poisoning or I had found out later that people had claimed some kind of bug was going around. So I came to do the workout, and I just couldn't. I felt so sick, and I took an Uber home, and my husband, he was at like a football game, and I almost threw up in the Uber. And I'm still laughing about that, but like, yeah, sure, that probably affected my performance and may have cost me not to place as high in the open, but in the end, like, shit happens to everybody, so like, I don't want to use that as an excuse. This was the best that I could do
also,
this
it's
year.
nice to give people, I guess, a little bit of perspective that they wouldn't know, because also they don't know that you came in and did that workout and tried 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
While incredibly sick.
Yeah.
And it's been 3 days, and that's a hard workout to do once.
I was sitting in you came in, I was on the couch, and I was like, I'm just waiting for a window of opportunity where I feel okay.
That's right.
I remember
that. Yeah. And I literally came to the gym in the morning, and I didn't like attempt the workout until like 4 p.m. and I was like, or no, wait, when was the workout?
It was like 3.
Oh, it was
like
3:30. It was right before, and I was like, well, now or never. And somehow I did it. I felt so bad.
And you still had a great open, right?
Yeah.
She ended up 44th overall in the world.
Yeah. And considering that.
Yeah, with
I mean, if I couldn't imagine.
And there's
working at 6 hard.
but there are other athletes, some top 20 and I think even top 10 athletes too that are affected by this, right?
Yeah. So I, of course, Hakeem pulled out the spreadsheet. He was just curious to see like what other athletes, who maybe were in the top 20 from last year, who didn't make the games also, and it's even worse on the men's side. There's probably
quite a bit.
There's like James Newbury, Matt McLeod.
Wow. I think if Scott Panchik was going indie.
Oh yeah, he
Scott
would have made it. Yeah, which I guess from their perspective in the end they want to find the fittest. So like I guess to be number 1, the fittest, if you didn't make the top 20, then maybe I get that and understand. But then that doesn't mean there's been lots of people who weren't even close to top 20 open, but then got top 10 at the games, like multiple athletes. And even on the women's side, there's about probably like 4 women who are in the top 20 or 15 who also didn't make this cut per se. So
it's a strange. It's definitely a strange year.
Yeah. Well, and it's no one's fault.
No.
Anyways, that's the thing that's hard is there's really no one you can be mad at.
No, and
it's just unfortunate.
Yeah,
and the decision-making process, I think if we were all in the same room, we all probably would have made that same decision. The same way, like, okay, we can. He only has so much capacity at that.
Well,
range.
I mean, there's other options, but it costs so much.
Social
money.
Distancing, he has to maintain. Plus, then he still has to. They still have to get approval from the county down there to operate. And I'm not sure about the city, but I know he has to get county approval. And that's always, Romus has always been a little bit of a challenge. And he has neighbors that aren't, they don't want to see a huge event go on down there too. So they're still facing some things that they'll have to overcome.
Which I totally understand. And I think if I was in the top 20 or would have won one of the Sanctionals, I'm sure I would have been like, this is awesome, like this is gonna be great. And it's always like when you make it, everything's totally fine, but when you're on the outside, it's like you have reason to be angry. But in the end, like I'm happy that some people have the chance to compete, and in the end, they're testing for the fittest. So I guess like that's.
And they'll get that, right?
Yeah.
And if that's what their goal is, like just at the same conversation as it was last year with the cuts. Yeah. And they're really only focused on the number 1, and that's all right, but it's a bummer.
So I heard from Pye he sent the message to me, the Instagram post as well to me, and so I thought, well, no big deal. I go, she just shift her focus and she can train like a few months later, just shift her training to Dubai in December.
That's exactly what I thought.
So I sent that to him. He sent it, and then I got a reply back. He replied, and I thought he would reply back. Yeah, that's cool. He sent back Dubai canceled. Dubai canceled as well.
I'm sure there's plenty of reasons why. I'm just curious. I wonder why, because it is all the way in December.
There's really no way. I think again, it's one of those things financially, and on a comfort level. They need to demonstrate that they're in solidarity with all the other sporting organizations.
And it's a big risk.
Football, basketball, baseball, all of these other organizations. Plus, there won't be, or there's not expected to be, a vaccine until the first part of next year. And I think it's probably one of those things, let's wait until there's a vaccine. But that said, so if there's no Dubai, there's no games, there's no Dubai, is this was this your curtain call? Are you retiring, or are you planning for your next event? Have you made a decision? Are you thinking about those types of things, or
so
not?
I think originally, like not that I'm saying I'm old, but like I'm definitely getting on the older side of most competitors, but like I still feel like I'm getting better and better. And I had thought about, like I want to finish on a good note, and the thought was this year, if things go well and I do well, then I could consider this being my last year. But then now with all that's happened, I feel like I have like so much more in me, and I know I need to think about this, and this whole what's happened still like pretty fresh, and I've been thinking about it. But right now, like I've still been continuing my training, and I haven't changed anything because I don't want to make any like rash decisions. But still, when I think about it, like I can't really picture this being the end. Like I feel like I haven't finished on the note that I want to finish on.
Cool. But
at the same time, it's kind of, we don't know what the future looks like. And then with Dubai canceled, I'm like, wow, it could be like 6+ months before I'd actually do an in-person competition. So like that's kind of scary.
That's gotta be weird, yeah.
Yeah, it's the thought of that too. And I'm like, can I do that? I don't know. So I'm just, for now, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep training hard, and on the bright side, maybe this is gonna be a good thing that's gonna make me even better. It's like the 1 year Katrin didn't make it, she came back even better. And sometimes it gives you like a better opportunity to focus on what you needed to focus on. So
and from I know he'll agree with me, from our perspective, being someone who watches you daily, you're not getting worse.
Yeah.
You're only getting better. And last year you were outside of the top 10 by a split second.
Right.
You were just barely missed that cut. And had you gotten into that top 10, I'm confident you would have made it
Maybe
very, very high into that top 10. But that being said, if you were like, it'd be an easier decision, I'm sure, if you were like barely making it to the games or something like that, but you're still thriving, doing better than ever, doing better in the open. So
I know that this community would be excited if you continue, and I know certainly your fans too that that follow you and track you, and the CrossFit community would be excited too. I don't it's like one of those things, especially with the coronavirus, we don't want to see our favorite businesses. We hear about business failure. We don't want to see CrossFit gyms fail. We don't want to see our favorite businesses fail.
We want to support everyone.
We don't want to see our CrossFit athletes have to shut down too. Right? We want them to keep going. And so it would be awesome to see.
I think like deep down, or I think as for most people, like I just feel like I have so much more to give, and I'm scared that like if I would stop, like I don't want to regret it for the rest of my life, that I'm like, oh, I had so much more. I had that like one extra notch that didn't go, but then at the same time I'm like, when are you ever gonna feel like that you did enough, or
even if you win, you're just like, I just want to win.
I could have done this, or why didn't I do that? So that's kind of what I'm scared of. I'm like, I don't know if I know how to stop. Like I've been an athlete all my life.
Are you still enjoying it?
That's a good question.
And I am enjoying it, but then at the same time, like maybe this is all I know how to do. But I'm just such a I have that burn for competition, and then I'm like, I don't really know how to live life normally, and that's maybe I need more of a transition. I don't know. That's just
maybe
the thoughts are going through my head.
That's a great perspective and I think a lot of athletes have that professional. Look at Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
He cannot shut down.
Look at Brett Favre.
He knows. Yeah.
Came back.
Right. They have they're somewhat addicted, but they always feel like they got a little bit more.
Well, and the nice thing about CrossFit, and not that you would go this route at all, but the nice thing about CrossFit is you always have the opportunity to compete, even maybe not on the same stage. But that's what's cool about Masters. At some point, you're going to have to graduate to Masters or just stop, unless you're just insane for the rest of your life. But that's one thing that's nice is you can continue doing something, but it definitely, I can see why if you're competing for 10 years, having to just go, I'm not going to do it anymore. I mean, that's your life. It'd be really hard decision to make.
From day to day.
Yeah. Totally. And
I'm just like,
that's a big decision to make. So.
Yeah, like on one hand, I'm like, I feel like I can keep going and I want to do more and I need to do more. And then on the other hand, I'm like, when will I know when to stop? Like, I don't know. Like,
again,
maybe,
if you were getting worse and it was like obvious, that would be an easy point to be like, okay, well now maybe I can stop.
Yeah.
It's hard is that you're not getting worse, you're getting better, and it makes it a harder decision.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't know what to do.
You got a minute to figure it out.
So one of the things that during this process, this whole now almost 8 weeks of being away from the gym regularly for most of our members is we're all kind of thinking about what we've gotten good at and what hasn't gotten good. Like for example, our barbell. I think for most of us, our barbell work, we haven't been able to do as much barbell work, so our barbells suffered. Push-ups. I'm killing push-ups. Yeah. Like I literally do push-ups every day. Like I'm looking forward to the push-up part of Murph, right? Yeah. That's gonna be. I'll probably end up blowing up anyway.
For the first time ever.
But what for you during this time? Because you've been training by yourself, but you haven't been able to train exactly how you normally train. You train at the condo. You can't drop weights. What has improved during the shelter in place for you?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty interesting. So yes, since the shelter in place, like you said, I can't drop weights. So I've been doing like a lot of hang stuff, but then eventually like my back was just blown up. So we switched to a lot more like dumbbell, kettlebell, mostly dumbbell stuff, and also a lot of core stuff. Because before I always knew that toes to bar weren't my strength. So now like almost every day I've been doing like planks and like V-ups and then doing like everything, even with just the light. Because with a light dumbbell, because a lot of times you always want to go to like a heavier one, but then most of the time in competition it's like a 35-pound dumbbell, and like sometimes that's more what I'm not as good at. Like I can just crush if it was like a 55-pound dumbbell, but if you're doing like overhead squats with like a 30 something light as that, like it adds up. So I've been doing a lot of that, and like I've really seen improvement.
Yeah, it moves differently, right?
Yeah.
And you muscle it more than you do with a 50, where you're more efficient with them.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of thing that'll benefit you during something like the open, because that's the stuff where you use the weights where you typically don't.
Yeah.
Use that during training.
That like the muscular endurance of lightweight squats, and then I'm doing so much more mobility, and I was like, oh, that's how it's supposed to feel. Like I'm already like pretty mobile, but I can definitely be a lot more mobile. So since like I've seen like so much more improvement in that, and I'm like, oh my god, wow. So awesome. It's always like on the bright side, but even it's like almost feels like when I was injured, I was only able to do certain things, but then I ended up getting really good at the things that I was only able to do. So there's always like
has anything? Do you feel like if there's anything that suffered during the shelter-in-place training?
I guess, like you said, lifting.
Yeah.
Like I'm scared I can't snatch nearly as much or clean a trigger. It's just I don't know if it's like more gonna be like a confidence thing or like I'm like wow, I haven't like gotten under that much weight. Like I can squat. I've been squatting, but it's like cleaning and snatching are so much different. Like
completely.
So.
I'm sure it'll build a couple weeks to build up that confidence.
So I guess we'll find out when shelter-in-place is done. But at least I've been doing a lot of lightweight technique stuff. So maybe who knows? Maybe like maybe my strength could go down, but my technique could get better. I don't know.
Which is beneficial because that's something I noticed about when I started coaching. I stopped working out for a bit.
Yeah.
I stopped touching a barbell except for when I was coaching, and I was just using an empty barbell, and I was teaching people the technique, and then the next time I snatched heavy, I was like, wow, I actually know how to do it now.
Yeah, I think it almost forced me to go back to the fundamentals.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, so,
What about the one that I get to see the most commentary on online in our community group and on Instagram and everywhere else is the nutrition discipline during the open. So you're super disciplined just by nature because you have to be, right?
Yeah.
Has that been easier or harder? And how's it been for Akeem?
That's a big one.
For me, I think since I'm like home all the time, and it's a lot easier to like cook and then like train while you're cooking, because sometimes before when I was at the gym, and then, you know, sometimes I didn't always prepare in advance and then come home and be starving. But like now you know, I could like start cooking rice or something and then like be doing my skills on the side. So it's like been a little bit easier. But then I think it's the same for everybody. When you have like snacks in your fridge and you're like right there, like how many times I can't tell you that I've opened the fridge and be like, no, like, don't do that.
You just open the fridge. I do that. I just walk in. What are you doing? I just
it's just like a habit. You're like, why? Yeah, but like for Akeem, he's been working at home and his desk is just like a couple of steps from the fridge, so that hasn't been good for him. At least like he was pretty good about, he would, you know, if you went to the fridge, he'd be like, no, and then he'd like do some push-ups and then go back to work. So he tried to like, he did like this push-up challenge for a while where he had to like accumulate while he was working, you know, a certain number. So like he'd be typing and then you do like 5 push-ups, go back, and then
I bet he got really good at push-ups.
Yeah, and then also he started doing have you heard of Zwift? It's like a biking app. So he's been like, right after work, he like gets on and he does like races, and you can race with like people around the world. So at least on the upside, I
can see him doing
yeah.
that.
I bet he's really into that.
Oh, he's totally into that. He's like, oh, my German buddy, or whatever, you know, famous German triathletes on, and he's all like so into it. So yeah.
That's really cool.
So you always, I guess, at first it's hard, but then you adapt. Or there's always challenges, and even for me, I'm like, I just want to snack all day. But
it's really easy when you're home. You just
the one thing I'm really surprised about, because I thought this would happen for sure, since you guys are both home and you're home a lot now, because this is what you've used as your objection when I've asked you, is how come you didn't get a dog yet?
Oh my god! Honestly, I did the ARF like online adoption or fostering orientation. I've been like looking like, oh, maybe I can get a dog from this breeder. I send Akeem dog pictures every day. Like, what about this dog? What about this dog?
I've been doing the same thing. You know what's been doing it for me? If you watch America's Funniest Home Videos, which we've been watching a ton of now, like there's so many dogs on there that are so cute. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get a dog.
I honestly like daily send him pictures, and he's like, almost soon, but not now. Soon, and I'm like, this is the perfect
That's
time.
progress.
Seriously, this is the perfect.
That's huge progress.
What I told Kayla's, I'm like, one day I'm just going to come home with a dog, because she's not ever gonna say yes.
It did make me think, and I was like, if I was like single by myself, I would have like would have already gotten the dog. I do like I'm more like impulsive that way. Like
Me too. I was like, I legitimately almost went and got one day. I was like, I should probably sit on this for a couple of days.
If you did tell me to stop, I would have bought it. Yeah.
That's great. One question I was thinking is, do you think that back to the games this year, do you think Aromas is a good enough venue to truly get everything that you need to determine who's the fittest? Do you think they'll be able to pull it off?
I think maybe it's possible with the lower number of people, because they do have, like right where the ranch is, like a flat area, so it could kind of be like that square footage where you do, you know, the barbell stuff, the pull-up bar, and then I guess if there's a run, it's going to be that hill run, and like they could do, I mean, you could like road bike around there, and then if the only question is if they're going to have swimming, but unless they go to the ocean, which the ocean is like right there, so they could, but then with all the restrictions and stuff, I'm like, you know, it could be. And the other thing with the ocean is it just had a shark attack. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Not too far away from there. So maybe it was a good year.
Hey, the unknown and unknowable.
He'll figure it out. Castro's pretty good at figuring stuff out. I could see him taking him to Santa Cruz, and he might be able to get away with that. Yeah. For an ocean swim thing.
Sweet.
Yeah, so cool. I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think it'll.
Well, right on. Well, thanks for taking time to sit with us and talk.
Of course.
I'm glad that you put a lot of thought to it. You're thinking about the training. You're still training. That makes me excited. It gets me kind of pumped up and motivated just to watch. So I know our members will be excited about it.
We can't wait for in-person competitions again.
I'm really I didn't realize how much I missed it until now.
Yeah.
Is that, well, one quick question, does that make you kind of appreciate the new layout a little more? Because there's more in-person competitions throughout the year.
Sanctionals.
Oh
the
yeah,
sectionals.
no, for sure. It's just like thinking about last. I'm like, if I would have known what was to come, I would have done like many more sanctionals, because that was the only reason I didn't, because I thought like it would be more advantageous to focus on my training, being qualified. But like, if I would have foreseen the future,
Yeah.
I would have maybe gone to Ireland, to Waterpalooza, and like I'm pretty confident that I would have gotten a ticket through there. But yeah, it's too late for that. You can always think about, I could have changed this or that, but I can't. I'm not gonna think that way. And things happen to everybody, and I just want to move on with the future.
Move forward.
And do what's in my control right now.
Well, we're
That's
all
awesome.
excited.
Yeah, Sandy, thanks a lot. You're an
Yeah, thank you.
inspiration, and
Thanks.
we feel privileged to have you here training and watching your progress.
Thanks.
You will continue. I know in my heart you'll continue to get better. You always do. So
It's wild.
Thanks
Thanks.
so much.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
yeah,
Thanks.
cool.
See you.
Thanks, Steven.